Today on the Honor Roll podcast, we'll be talking to honor students Nusheen, Immen, and Aakash Vijeesh about their time on the Dominican Republic trip. Hey Honors Bulls, welcome to the Honor Roll podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I'm Merriman. I am a third-year honors student at the Judy Genshaft Honors College, and I am currently studying English. I am here with my wonderful co-host Mridula Singh. She is a fourth-year honors student, and she is currently studying biomedical sciences. Hi, Mridula.
Hi, Caroline. Hi, guys. I'm Mridula Singh, and as Caroline mentioned, I'm a senior here at the Honors College. My majors are biomedical sciences and psychology, and I'm an aspiring physician. But alongside all my pre-med interests, I've picked up a lot of, fun things like tennis and photography. And yeah, I guess a fun fact about me is that I do a lot of research at the Honors College, and Dr. Davidson is actually one of my research coordinators. So that's, yeah.
Well, we're so glad to have such an impressive student here with us today. So as always, Mridula, we like to start off the podcast with one big question. And so today my question is, if you could travel anywhere right now, where would you want to go?
Honestly, because it is starting to get a little cold in Florida, I would like to be literally anywhere that's tropical and sunny, even if it's St. Pete.
We need something above 70 degrees.
Just something above 70 degrees, honestly.
A little sand, a little sunshine.
Yeah, and not Castor Beach.
Well, I totally agree. I've definitely been missing the beach and the beach weather. I know this past December, a few of my friends, they actually went on the Dominican Republic trip, and that was with the Honors College, and it just looked so beautiful and tropical, and I was like holed up in my house, like covered in blankets, and so I was definitely really, really jealous.
I saw so many photos of the sunny things, and we were like cuddled up in the sun in the corner of our rooms.
So today we will actually have Aakash Vijeesh and Nusheen Immen. They're going to join us, and they are going to tell us all about their time in the Dominican Republic, all of the wonderful adventures they had, and the experiences they got working in the public health clinic there. So that'll be all coming up next.
Want to live the Bulls life? Join the Judy Genshaft Honors College Living Learning Community. As a member of the Honors LLC, you enjoy special events like the Tapas Night Study Abroad Expo, service learning fairs, career prep workshops, LLC-only recreational travel, and more. The Honors LLC is available on all three University of South Florida campuses, but space is limited, so apply now. Visit the Judy Genshaft Honors College website to learn more.
All right, welcome everyone. I am here with honors students Aakash Vijeesh and Nusheen Immen, who both went on the honors-led service trip to the Dominican Republic this last December. Would you guys like to introduce yourself to the audience real quick?
Of course. Hey guys, my name's Aakash, like Caroline said, and I'm currently a third year majoring in biomedical sciences. I'm currently on the pre-med track, so I hope to go to med school at some point. I graduate next fall. Just like one thing about me, I love playing IM sports, whether it's our softball, basketball, football, even soccer. I love doing any IMs that we have.
Awesome. And my name is Nusheen. I'm a senior majoring in biomedical sciences and economics, minoring in psychology. I'm also on the pre-med track and hope to attend medical school. One fun fact about me is I love language learning. Currently, I can speak about 4 languages: English, Spanish, Russian, and Farsi. So knowing Spanish definitely helped me out for this trip. That's a little bit about me, and I can't wait to tell you guys about our trip.
All right. Well, we're so glad to have you guys here today. Before we get into the experience of preparing and going on the trip, do you guys kind of just want to give us an overview of what the DR trip is and what its kind of goal is?
Of course. So this trip is in partnership with the class that we have. It's the health and culture in the Dominican Republic. And basically students go to the DR for 10 days and we work in a medical clinic in Batay communities. And we basically have a chance to see how the community is there and help people directly, whether it's through volunteering, building a house, or simply as just treating them and giving them medicine.
Yeah, so this class was led by Dr. Davidson. She does a great job. She does it twice a year, and she's been going for the past 7 years. And she has been in partnership with Dr. Carroll, who is in charge of the Carroll Initiative for Community Health, I believe. So this whole experience was just very enlightening. Yeah. We're going to definitely get into more details about it, but that is how it's structured. We did meet with Dr. Carroll multiple times on the trip, and he was absolutely amazing. He taught us so much. So that's a little bit about the history of the trip.
Yeah, so how did you guys decide you wanted to go on the trip, and how did you get started with the process of like applying and getting into the program?
So I actually knew many students who have been on this trip, many honors students, past honors ambassadors, students that I was familiar with, and they came back with nothing but good words, good thoughts, and great experiences. So that really motivated me to become interested in applying and attending this program. I've just heard many great things on the honors pages, on the honors stories, honors websites, seeing students make great memories going on these kind of study abroad trips. And I definitely, as I was approaching my graduation, knew I wanted to attend something like this, make a big difference. And I successfully think I did that.
Yeah, and for me, a lot of people in my medical fraternity, Phi Delta Epsilon, they would go on these trips every semester. And at least every semester we have like 1 or 2 people going. So I remember last winter, 2 of my friends, Adam and Kevin, they were doing a toy drive for the trip, and I was like, this sounds really interesting. So I asked them a bit more about it, and when they came back, they told me how much of like an amazing time they had. So I did a bit more research into this trip, and it just seemed like something I was really interested in doing. I've always wanted to do a study abroad trip, and this just seemed like the best option for me because it seemed hands-on. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short, and just seemed like the perfect trip for like my goals and what I wanted to do.
Yeah, so this trip seems like, from your guys' experience of like how you heard about it, is very like deeply embedded into like our like honors medical community.
Of course, yeah. Yes. Couldn't agree more.
100%.
Almost like universal experience, kind of like
universal.
Everyone loves to go on this trip.
Exactly.
100%. And especially if you are like a pre-medical student, we even had a pre-dental student, we had pre-PA. So anyone in the medical field in general can benefit from this trip. And I think it's something that you will leave taking great experiences from.
Yeah, so like leading into the trip, like how did you guys prepare? So I know there's like a course you take before you go. Are you like practicing your Spanish, learning like medical terms? Are you learning any like medical like techniques and skills before you go, or learning about the community so that once you're there, like things go smoothly?
I think you got it pretty spot on. We do a bit of each and every one of that. We do some practice of medical terminology in Creole and Spanish, so when we go there, we're not like blind running into anything. Another thing we do study a lot is approach that physicians use when they're treating patients. One thing I've learned throughout this class mainly is that in the States, we tend to be very specific with the problems we diagnose. If we see something wrong, and it may not matter to the patient, but it's something wrong with the body, we tend to like focus and treat it to the best we can, which is good. But abroad, some people just can't afford that, and they only need to treat what's important to them. So we really emphasize this thing called culturally centered healthcare.
Yep, Dada's approach, culture, structure, and agency. Yes, that's one big thing we focused on during class time. So I can actually elaborate a bit on that. So Dr. Davidson did a great job of leading our class, preparing us both culturally and in the language sense, I would say.
Yeah.
We were the first class that she started the clinic notebook with. So this was kind of an initiative she took where she asked us to have a certain list of words that we would think would be relevant in the clinics and have them translated into both Spanish and Creole. And if we ever needed to reference them while we were there, we were easily able to do so. So that was a big help. And
yeah, we got to learn a lot about what we should be expecting. So during the class, I'm not even gonna lie, I did have my moments where I'm like, this is going to be useful to me on the trip. Am I really going to need to know this?
Yeah.
And turns out I did. Because,
that's crazy. I can agree on that.
Yeah. So shadowing some of the doctors there, I was literally able to see like what we learned in class and how it's being used in real life. Because sometimes to treat a patient, you need to know the patient. A lot of times here, that's not the case. But over there, that's definitely the case. And that's why doctors are able to provide great medical care despite having low resources. So that's one recurring theme of the class that Dr. Davidson tried to drill in our heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard to relate to that during the semester, but definitely going on that trip did open my eyes a
paid
bit.
off.
Yeah, for sure.
Studying paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at one point, Dr. Davidson showed us a video of the community, and I remember seeing that and being like, wow, we're going to be there one day. And it really helped me to visualize, because as we approached the community, I was like, I remember these parts. And she was like, yeah, this is where like the kiosco is going to be. This is where the house, like the host houses are going to be. And so during class, we definitely all had these abstract ideas that weren't making quite much sense to us in the moment. But once we arrived there, we were like, wow, everything fits into place. We got everything we needed, and now we're ready. Yeah.
I think the honors-led programs do a really good job of like preparing you that like the moment you arrive, like you're ready to take part in that community. I went on a non-honors-led study abroad trip. I went to Italy. I didn't know the language.
Nice.
So like during my trip, like I didn't really interact with the culture very much. I just kind of felt like a tourist. So like hearing about your guys' experience, like it's so cool that you got to like learn language and like learn about, you know, ethics and learn about the community and to like actually immerse yourself in that during your trip. Especially with it being about, what, 11 days you said?
Yes.
The trip's
Yeah,
11
around,
days.
yeah.
So I actually want to add something on there. The fact that you said you felt like a tourist, I think for us it was completely 180. We
Exactly.
felt like members of the community. We
Yeah.
were welcomed immediately. I mean, and they're used to seeing students from US, especially from honors, go to this community and help them out. So they welcomed us with open arms, and we felt that just instantly, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Our host families could not have been more welcoming
Yes.
and warming. We obviously were in a very different environment, and it was very hard for a lot of us.
Yes, exactly.
But the host families, the kids, the people in the community just made it feel like home. So I know there's a lot of this just brings me back to a memory. Like every time I go to like a family event, I run into old family members that feel like strangers because I don't know them. This felt like the exact opposite. It was like meeting a stranger that eventually became like a really close person that like you could view as family. And it was amazing. They had no hesitation when it came to like anything that we need help with. I know my host mom even offered to make me and my friend Parker stay there for 3 extra days with her, and she would cook us food. It was amazing. Yeah, no, it was an amazing time.
Could you guys like describe like the host family situation and how that works? Like how you guys kind of like reside within the community like while you're there?
I can start with this.
Yeah,
So-
no, for sure.
All right. So in our class, I believe there were 11 girls and 9 boys. So the girls were split into 2 houses. In my house, I was with host mom Yesenia. She was amazing. Shout out to her. There were 6 girls in my house, and we all shared one room, and it was amazing. It was so fun. It was so interesting. Definitely, I'll never forget all those great memories. And in the other house was 5 girls, and the guys had all 9 in one house.
I think, we had 9 guys. Normally, that is a nightmare situation. 9 guys, 1 house, and 1 bathroom. But it was actually really fun. It was me and 2 other people in one room, and then all the rest of the guys in a bunk situation in another room. And you really get close with the people you're staying
You get
with.
really close with them.
Yeah.
You see everything.
Exactly. You see her.
You bond over every moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys all bond over the cold showers in the morning.
Cold showers.
Yeah, the
Mosquito nets.
mosquito nets,
everything,
the
yes.
heat. Like it seems like a struggle in the beginning, but halfway throughout the trip, you're like you're used to it, and it's just a fun experience.
Exactly. It's like kind of like a summer camp experience.
Exactly. No,
A lot of us,
that's the best way to put it.
The best way to put it. In the best way.
Yeah, like. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. Like, no, that's.
Are you guys still really close with like your little
Yes.
your Dominican
Yes.
Republic
Yes.
group?
Yes.
Very close.
A couple of them I went in as friends with, but we got closer leaving. But I know at least Nusheen and her friends came in as like strangers
Yes.
and left as like sisters.
Best friends
It was
forever?
crazy.
Best
Yeah,
friends forever, I think.
BFFs.
I think so. I think Aakash was one of the only students I really knew going in, just because we had met through honors before, and I had seen him around. So he was like a familiar face when I entered the class. But everyone else was kind of strangers. We got somewhat close as the semester progressed in our class time, but nothing brought us together like that trip.
Yeah.
And definitely we left there as best friends, as people who went through so many cool experiences, so many interesting events together. We grew together. We experienced life together. We saw the hardships, the beauties of life, just everything, and we came out as new people and as
That's so amazing.
as family.
We got so close to the point is that like we wish the trip was mid-semester so we can go back to have class with each other.
Yes.
Because now a lot of us are going to be graduating. We're not going to see each other as frequently, and it's going to be kind of tough sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of us were like, dang, I just
we
wish.
stay forever?
Yeah, like can we just stay here or like go back and like have our classes every Mondays and Wednesdays.
Right.
Like
So now we know each other. Like,
Yeah.
now we know what to talk about
Exactly.
and how to relate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was amazing.
Definitely.
So could you guys give us like a rundown of like your day to day in the DR, like what that was like? What were you doing in the community? Any projects like in the clinic? Like kind of how that went about?
Of course. Nusheen, you want to start off with that?
Sure. Okay. So on our trip, I would actually say that every day was a new adventure. Like every day it was planned to an extent, but there was nothing like that ever repeated. So every day we got to experience something new. In our first few days, we had a few health lectures presented to us by Dr. Kroll. So he prepared us how to treat patients in the well, we weren't treating them, but how to kind of be there and support them. We had different setups. So we had like a check-in station, we had a vital station, we had the consults, and then we had the pharmacy and post-op care, I guess you could say. So the way that this was set up was we were all split into different groups, and it was rotating. So as each clinic day passed, everyone would get a different station. So he taught us how to do that, how to perform on each of those stations. He taught us how to be culturally sensitive and, culturally appreciative of all the Haitian communities, the Dominican communities, how to interact with patients, how to respect their boundaries, how to know how to interact with people there. He also went through many other great information. So he told us how the diverse ethnicities within the Dominican Republic, how it was partially people from Spain, people from Haiti, the Tainos, I think he mentioned.
Yeah.
So he told us all about these. So we got to really learn about how people kind of people were living there, just who they were, their backgrounds. So we got to learn a lot. We got to learn about our community, Bella Vista. So one of those first days, we did a tour of Bella Vista where we got to walk around, see the other families, other houses along the street, interact with other children, the dogs, the animals, the cool stuff. We got to see this the school, the local school that was nearby, the local basketball court. There was a small pond.
Yeah.
That was really cool. We went swimming in that one a little bit later. So those were the first few days. If you want to continue with the next few.
Yeah, so the next few days we just kind of stayed in the clinic. We had a health fair. We would start out our day with obviously our breakfast, and then we would do the main part of the day, which is like the clinic, or one of the days we had a health fair where we presented our research projects that we did throughout the class. And then as we approached the end of the day, that was more of a relaxation or like fun parts of the days. So we'd have like Spanish lessons. We had a dance lesson from merengue, I believe. We did like domino tournaments, which is huge there. But one big thing was if there's only like one similarity between all the days is that anything could change. You could be rained out of one. I think we got rained out of one clinic.
We did.
So
which was an example of structure. Is that right?
Exactly.
That healthcare approach. It was an example of structure because due to the rain, we weren't able to access the clinics, and even then, the patients themselves wouldn't be able to access the clinics, let alone us. So that had to be canceled one of the days. Unfortunately.
What did you guys do instead?
We worked on our healthcare.
We worked on our healthcare projects.
Yes.
We hung out with the kids there. Just like go back to what Nusheen said, everything that we learned in the class was being applied to like what we are doing in the trip. And I don't feel like I could say this enough times, but it was actually a very useful class compared to like some of the other ones that we can take. So yeah. And I just want to emphasize that like having no schedule was sometimes like our best option. If we wanted to go swimming in the pond, we'd just ask our community host, Jonathan, and he'd be like, yeah, let's go to a pond. If we wanted to play a game of basketball, he'd be like, yeah, let's go play a game of basketball. Like there was just so much room for doing what we wanted to do. And there was like a recurring statement that we had there, and it's that in the Dominican Republic, anything is possible. And it became like a joke between us, but it's truly like stands to the statement like anything is possible there. And if we want to do something, as long as it's like realistic, we can do it.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of the trip. Like there was just so much time for us to choose what we wanted to do.
Explore the world of research with the University of South Florida Undergraduate Research Portal. This centralized online portal paves the way to exciting research opportunities filled with discovery and personal growth. It will connect you with the right research lab, professors, and mentor relationships at USF. The perfect research opportunity is just one click away. Search USF Research Portal or visit the Judy Genshaft Honors College website to learn more.
So with there just being like so many medical students like wanting to go on this trip, like just to circle back to like the clinic experience, like what did you gain from that? Like what did you learn from the clinic, and like how did that kind of how can you apply that, like, you know, to your career path, or, you know, your visions for the future?
Sure. So I actually think I took a lot back with me from the clinic. I think it enhanced my desire to go to medical school by a lot, and it made me more passionate about medicine than ever. Being able to see all the ways that we can help those in need, those that, you know, don't have the means to help themselves. It's just something that it just brings me so much joy, brings me so much fulfillment. And so just being in the clinic, being able to shadow one of the physicians one of the days, Dr. Marte, he was just phenomenal. He was so engaging and interactive with me. He let me, you know, observe everything he was doing. He even let me listen to like the breathing rate of one of the patients who had the flu. And so I actually got to be interactive. I got to take that step forward and see what it was like to be in the shoes of a physician. And it made me realize that it's exactly what I wanted, exactly the path that I want to take. And going on this trip, again, despite being in a new environment, being in like an environment that we weren't used to, maybe people speaking the language that we don't speak here, but despite all of that, it made me so passionate and so excited to take a step forward and help those who need it. Again, like just being able to see the smiles on those faces after we had told them, you know, here, take this medication and you'll be better sooner, you know, just be brave, be tough. And they took that, and it wasn't much, but they were appreciative.
And you're seeing it in real time happening before you.
Exactly. And just working together, I saw the power of collaboration, of teamwork, of communication. All of these are essential to a productive medical environment in the hospital, in the clinic, whatever it may be. So we divided those tasks between many people, and that was the only way it made it possible. Everybody did what they were supposed to do, and therefore we got all our tasks done.
Yeah, and like just continuing off of that, so every clinic there was 5 groups, or like 5 stages of the process. There was a registration process, there was a vitals process, there was a shadowing process, there was a pharmacy process, and there was a post-op process. And in each of those stages, you would learn something different. Yeah. In the registration, you would learn a bit about the history of your patient. You would learn what they've been through, their background, and how it could possibly affect their symptoms. And then in the vitals process, you quite literally learn the physical skills needed to take like the blood pressure, the temperature, anything that's required for the patient. In the shadowing process, which is my personal favorite, you learn how these doctors treat their patients. And it really shows that the doctors know their patients. They know their family, they know their mother, the sister, the daughters, how many kids they have. And it shows how that information is so valuable to treating them. I just want to go back to this one patient that I was shadowing Dr. Kroll, and we were treating this one kid who had I'm trying to think of what it was called, but his skin was discolored. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this looks exactly like eczema. Like this discoloration, it looks exactly the same. But Dr. Kroll was like, no, this is actually a thing called tinea corporis, which is just ringworm infection. And I was like, how were you able to tell the difference between this and eczema? He's like, I know the patient, and they don't have the best, like they don't have the proper soap, and they can't take showers that frequently, so they would get these infections a bit more frequently. So this just draws back to the fact that you need to know your patient to be able to treat them effectively, because I would have gone with eczema medication.
Damn, it looks like eczema.
To be fair, I'm not a doctor, so just want to mention that. But yes, they all really know their patients, So that's how their patients are able to get the best medical care.
100%.
And then in the pharmacy portion, you just kind of learn how to read doctors' handwritings, which is its own, it should be its own class.
Yeah, Aakash and I were on pharmacy together.
Yeah, it was
a fun time.
Yeah, to say it was stressful at times.
Yeah.
You learned a lot about the medications and what it's used for. I learned more about medications than I think I normally would have in any other setting.
And they also use medications that we don't use here, like
Exactly.
Ambroxol and
Ambroxol's not
stuff I
common.
haven't heard of before. But again, like Aakash said, it's for those communities. Maybe, they have other needs. They have other, the doctors there know best.
Yeah.
And
This just shows that, like, with really good doctors, you can provide great medical care despite having terrible resources. Not to say that, they did have terrible resources. I don't know. Also, I don't want to come off as rude or anything, but the resources, we were going to communities that did not have the privilege.
Underserved communities.
We were going to underserved. We were going to underserved communities where a lot of these patients didn't have a citizenship status to be Dominican. We were facing people that really got the short end of the stick, and seeing how we were able to. It felt like I was treating them. Obviously, I wasn't. But seeing how we were able to help these people without having an MRI or without having an X-ray machine or without even having really good blood pressure machines, we were able to treat them properly, and it felt amazing. It really reinforced the fact that you don't need millions of dollars worth of technology to be able to make a difference. So that did impact what I wanted to do in the future.
But actually on that note, just seeing everything over there, it made me grateful for what we have here, and it made me grateful. It made me realize that we should be thankful for what we have available to us here in the States, or maybe in more developed countries or whatnot. And it also made me realize that more people should be aware of these situations. And I believe that more people should make it maybe their interest to help out or to even care more about these communities. I feel like many people think that people who live in communities in the DR, maybe in the Bates, they don't deserve help because, you don't see it, you don't care about it. But it shouldn't be that way. And I think that us even just talking here today about, our trip and making these kind of experiences more known, it brings awareness to it. And those who are interested, maybe they don't know about it, they become interested and they send more resources, or they even I know many physicians who go on these trips to help the patients there and to do everything in their power because they deserve everything just as much as we do. And it's important to recognize that and to know that healthcare access, it's possible. It's possible to make it available to those communities. And
another thing was that this is not a problem that's just in the Dominican. We can see disparities in healthcare in the United States, in Tampa even. There are obviously some places that receive much better healthcare and some places that don't. And being able to see that difference and then know that not necessarily a solution, but a treatment method is possible to make it better. It is reassuring to know that you can make a difference. You can improve the lives of people that need it without needing millions of dollars. So that's just one thing I wanted to throw out there.
Now that you guys kind of saw how community health initiatives can do so much, even in a foreign country, even without a lot of money and a lot of resources, even with people whose government don't recognize their own identity, how can you bring the skills that you acquired there and the methods that you saw there back to Tampa or back to communities that you'll be a part in even in the future, in your future career? How can you kind of keep that going, or how do you want to keep that going?
That's actually a great question. I need a second to think about that.
I can start. I think education, that's number one. Making people know about it, educating people, telling them about what's going on over there and telling them that there are solutions. Just starting with our small trip to the DR twice a year, 10 days, it starts with those small initiatives. Dr. Kroll is doing a great job with his own initiative. He's in the DR 24/7. He lives there. He takes care of this all the time, year-round, even when we're not there. And so he actually, during one of his lectures, one of his autobiographical moments, he told us that he did medical school over there, and he had a choice to come to the U.S. to do residency, but he decided to stay where his community was because that's the community that he wanted to give back to and end up serving in his future. So he did his residency there, and he stayed right there, and he did all his medical practices. And he actually said a really cool statement to us where he was like, a past student told him, even though you didn't come to the U.S. ended up coming to you.
Yes.
So I love that moment.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
And just to go off what Nusheen said, she cannot be more right when she said it starts with education. You need to know that there is a problem to fix the problem. So the first step is like understand that there's something going on, and from there you just kind of learn more about it, see the causes and some of the things that affect these people. And education only goes so far when you don't have the real world experience.
Yeah.
And like I said, I could have spent a semester just doing this class, and I don't think I would have retained any of it or understood the severity of it if I didn't go on this trip.
Yeah. Yes.
So
True.
Yeah, to like just bring back, you need to be educated on what happens, but even more importantly, you need to see it happen. You need to be there. You need to be in the clinics. You need to be with these people to understand what they're going through. Because sympathy can only go too far. You need empathy to be with them, you know?
That's so true.
Oh, wait, did I get those definitions right?
I think
hope
you did
so.
it right.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
you got
cool.
it.
We're gonna keep rolling.
Empathy is like when you're
fact
able to
check.
relate.
Someone fact check that, please.
Yeah, I think empathy is when you're able to feel for other people.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did while we were there. I agree.
Yeah.
Being able to like understand someone's experience and not just have an emotion like around it.
Exactly.
I think that's it. But I want to make another point here. We did have a medical student who came with us. His name was Yifan. Shout out to him. He was great too.
He was an amazing person. So funny.
He was so funny. He gave us great guidance at moments in the clinics. He was supportive.
Incredibly smart,
definitely. And he was one of those people that I think maybe Dr. Davidson reached out to him or the other way around, but he basically stood up and said, hey, I want to go on this trip because I am interested in global health. And that made me think in the future, if an opportunity came like that to me, I would say yes. I would definitely go. I would definitely go back. And I could even say probably most of the kids, or maybe all the kids in our class would have the same reaction. And I think that also goes back to answering a question where it's like, now that we made those experiences, we went there, we saw everything. And we also realized that we could handle it and we could help people. And because of those kind of realizations, we know that we can go back and we can give more and bring more people along, or even in those kind of senses. So
And another thing is that we already have the connections with people there. And I don't know if this is me overstepping our boundaries with them, but I feel like if I were to go back to Bay Vista, Mama Carmen would still be like, stay with me for 3 days.
100%.
Yeah, like it's like I certainly hope so. They would like welcome us back with open arms.
I
like,
know those little kids, little children.
Yeah, those little kids,
they were
Mateo and Jonal.
and
so sweet.
Yeah, no, they were the best. Yeah, you really got close with the kids there.
You would walk out of the house and they would come and run and give you hugs. And they were so sweet, so cute. Yeah.
Yeah,
that must have been hard to leave.
It was hard
it was
to leave.
incredibly hard to leave them. The little one, Mateo, I think he was like, what, 5? He would throw a fit every time I would let him like sit on my shoulders and like take him around. It was amazing. Yeah.
And once he learned my name, he wouldn't stop saying it. At that point, I was like, all right.
Yeah, I don't even know if he like a lot of us. I mean, at least for me, I don't know Spanish. I know a little now, but I didn't know Spanish that well, and
Actually, I'll say something about Aakash. He knew French, so that helped him while he was in the clinic.
Oh, because of Creole.
Yeah.
Creole, yeah, exactly.
Something came useful at least.
Yeah. I think he talked to Dr. Kroll. And they got to communicate.
Yeah, no, it was weird because I learned French a very long time ago, and Dr. Kroll would. I mentioned I could speak a little French to him, and so we had a small conversation in French. And then after that, every moment he was speaking to me in French, and a part of me wanted to tell him I'm not that good at French anymore, but I had to keep appearances. Exactly. No, it looks so cool. So I'm like, I gotta try my best. But I just want to bring back to the fact that even though I couldn't speak with any of the kids there, we still had like a great time together. Like we were able to like become friends. I got really close to this one kid named Janal. We even have our own handshake. Like, it's an amazing opportunity that like it's really cool to see that like despite not speaking the same language with like someone, you like still form that close of a bond. So that's another aspect of this trip that like isn't like recognized enough.
Yeah, I agree. Like personally, I was able to speak to the kids maybe a little better. I had some language gaps for sure, but it was fun because I would kind of tell them, hey, I'm still practicing Spanish, and they would help me. They would tell me some new words. I would teach them some English words. So it was an exchange, and through that, we made cool friendships, we made cool bonds, and every moment was worth it. And everybody in the community was just so happy, so full of love, full of care for one another, and everybody there was, I think, related, or it felt like they were related. Because they were so close to one another.
It felt like one huge family rather than like neighbors. Yeah,
exactly. And I even remember like our host mom, Yesenia, she was so thoughtful. She would help in any way that she could. She would come and clean our room when we were like, no need to. She would come organize our stuff. She would come disinfect. If we had a long day, it was messy or something, she would do everything she could in her power, and she would still be there for us no matter what, no matter nothing. Yeah.
And with that being such like a unique community, that's definitely like a community health experience that you probably couldn't have had here in the U.S.
No doubt. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So to wrap up, because we're going on time.
All right.
What's like one final piece of advice, or maybe like reasoning like you would give students who are interested in going on the trip, like advice on how to get involved, or maybe an urge to like please go.
I think one of the best ones, I took a lot away from Dr. Kroll. He had some great tips for us, some great advice. One thing that he said that I realized by the end of the trip was, he said this to us: nothing good comes from the comfort zone. You need to step out of the comfort zone to make a real change, to make a real difference. In the beginning of the trip, I was not in my comfort zone. I was not. And I was like, all right, is this really true? By the end of the trip, I resonated with those words so hard. I told myself, I stepped out of my comfort zone and I got every benefit that I could think of. I gave so much and I got so much. And it was all because I was out of my comfort zone. Those were the biggest and most impactful words that inspired me throughout the whole trip. And I want to continue delivering that message to others. Step out of your comfort zone. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Be yourself and be engaged and be active with your community. Do things that you wouldn't normally do, because that's how you learn best.
No, that's a great way to put it. And when it comes to like incentivizing people to come to the trip, if being 10 days in the Dominican wasn't like enough of an incentive as is, it's just the experiences you would gain. I learned more about a clinical setting in this trip than I have ever done in shadowing at like TGH or anywhere else,
100%.
right? So it's just, you learn so much from this trip and you gain so much experience that it really changes your perspective on what you want to do and how you see healthcare as a whole. So people that really want to expand their view, try something different, that's the best way to go about it. And when it comes to advice about applying for this trip, I know Dr. Davidson's probably going to hold another
info session
about it
attend
later.
That whenever the day is.
Yeah, keep up with our honors Instagram. They're doing a great job with highlighting everything. Shout out you guys.
Go team.
Yeah, and then just stay on track. Keep up with updates, and it's pretty easy to get in. It's not too. I don't think it's too like selective or anything like that. But biggest thing is, it's a worthwhile trip. If you have the opportunity to take this trip and you are and you want to work in healthcare, there's no better trip in USF, in my opinion, than this. Like, you learn the most and you do the most.
100%. I mean, I feel like we could sit here all day and talk about it.
Exactly.
We could sit here for 10 days and talk about it.
I'm looking at the time and I didn't realize how much time passed. Right. It felt like 5 minutes. Yeah.
The whole trip felt like 5 minutes. Why aren't we back there already?
Exactly. Yeah, no, 10 days never went by quicker.
You're right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you. I'm sure we're going to have so many people signing up for the DR trip now.
Of course. Hope so.
Yes, that's the dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, if anyone's looking forward to going on the trip, just get into contact with Dr. Davidson or check out the Honors Study Abroad website. But that's all we have for today.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Caroline, for that great interview. That really makes me want to sign up for the next trip.
Yeah, I had a great time. I swear we could have talked for hours. And any interested students can go to the Honors College website to find the application for the trip.
Speaking of applications and websites, students who are interested in applying to the Honors College, that deadline is coming up March 4th. And current honors students, we have exciting things coming up. We have the 3rd annual Climate Teach-In and the Off the Wall Art Festival coming up April 1st to 5th.
And that will do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by Professor Adam Davidson and Abby Malloy. Thank you all so much for listening, and please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We appreciate your feedback. Tune in next time when we'll be talking to Honors Professor Dr. Dormois and student Aiden Jaskolka Brown about his incredible decision that saved a newborn baby's life. Until next time, go Bulls!